Hello movers, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm gonna take you through a breathing break. Yeah, no movement, but breath or breathing, more specifically diaphragmatic breathing, because very often overlook how important breathing or how we breathe in regards to how we feel and how we move. The breath, super important is the foundation of the foundation. So it's the first things that we do. Proper breathing mechanics is gonna help with core functionality. It's gonna help the spine to feel safe. It's gonna provide better stability because the body is gonna feel safe, and we need to feel safe in order to move well. It's gonna help your nervous system to stay more relaxed. When we're more relaxed in the parasympathetic nervous system, then we're more open to change and to adaptation. That is why it's so important. And most of us adults have lost our capacity to breathe naturally. So we pay a lot of attention in the comeback. We practice this with all my clients, but I want to make sure that all of you understand how important that is. And again, most often overlooked. So I want you to use this video after this short introduction as a follow along. So you're gonna have it there. I'm gonna keep it maybe on 5 minutes of breathing practice that you can start using daily. Now, it's just breath, but it can be hard. So we need to practice paying attention and then hopefully little by little take that type of breathing into the normal breathing or become our new normal. So I don't want to talk much more. I'm going to be explaining a little bit of how to do the breathing as we go through different positions. So the first one, and I like to start facing down so you can start doing it with me. We're going to be facing down in this position, so a very comfortable position. We're going to use the hands as a little pillow. I'm going to place my forehead. We're going to do about 1 minute on each position. So here, what I want you to do is to breathe in and out through nose. So we're going to use our nose to breathe. We're going to think of placing the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And now, what I want you to think is as your trunk as a cylinder, okay? Not just, sometimes you hear a lot about belly breathing, but that's not what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to fill up the cylinder so the whole thing from pelvic floor into the rib cage, all around. That's where I want you to send your inhales. And you're gonna think of expansion. Okay, so you wanna inhale, try to fill up the cylinder, but not just in your belly, pelvic floor, midsection, but all around, and then into the rib cage. The rib cage should also expand. Exhale, and you compress. So expansion in the inhales. Make sure that you're not just coming to your neck or the upper part of the chest. Try to maybe bring it even down to the bottom of that cylinder. Fill it up. It should be simultaneously you fill up the whole thing. Okay? I find that this facing down is one of the easiest positions. So you can practice there. We have done more than 1 minute. So we're gonna rotate, okay? And then we're gonna practice here on the facing up position, okay? So you can plant the feet there. You're gonna let yourself be relaxed on the floor. And you're gonna breathe for another minute. Don't rush it. Remember, it's practice. In this one, you can place your hands in different parts of your body. We can start in the midsection with the fingers on top, the thumbs underneath. You're gonna feel expansion. Remember, pelvic floor, midsection, but also the rib cage. And then exhale, just for now, notice how everything comes back to the center. When I say the center, around the belly button. Couple more. Yeah, let's do one more. Notice how on this position feels. Let me know in the comments. And then let's try another minute in this cross leg position. You can also try it on a chair, but here, try to think of good posture. Don't force the posture, just think of natural spine position. You may feel that you start getting into a more relaxed, okay? More relaxed state. Remember, as I say, it's a better place to then move, to then train, to ask the body for adaptations. If the body, because of our breath, is stressed out, it's not a good place to create any changes. So that's why the breathing is so important, and it's the first step in my program, the comeback, to really start connecting to this breathing and make it more natural. Maybe it's common to do it properly when we are laid down. As soon as we sit, then we go back to maybe just right here. Super common. If that is the case, you feel like you cannot bring it lower, place your hands in the midsection in this manner. You can get a lot in 5 minutes of practice. Let's move now to this side bend seated position where I bend my knees. Okay, I try to find the front of the sit bone. So now this is starting to be a little more challenging, especially if you have restricted hips. This may be challenging. You can just try it, see how it feels. So be on this position, and then we practice the breath. This one we're gonna do, because it's two sides, we're gonna do just 30 seconds. Of course, if you have more time, do it for more time, 10 minutes. Also, as I said earlier, if you notice that some positions are easier, start with those. Get familiar, get really good at those, and then challenge that by moving into any of these other positions. A 5-minute breathing break is a good way, especially if you come to the floor. Let's switch to the other side. You know, if you spend a lot of time in a seated position or in the chair, okay, coming back to the floor, practice your breath. It's gonna set up you in a much better place for everything else that we do. And it takes time, because we do a lot of breath every day. And if you have been breathing in a certain way for years, then it takes time to start reverting that. Okay, so just practice, be patient, don't be too hard on yourself. Let's go into the final position. Let's try the kneeling, okay? If it's pain-free. If it's painful, just let me know. You can always place something in between here, in between the legs, so you don't need to flex the knees so much. You don't need to ask the ankles for that much. Try to find a nice neutral position, and let's do our final minute, okay? Using your nose. Expand. Start noticing where it's easy for the air to go, where some parts. Remember, it's going to be bottom, around, and around, okay? Super good to start stabilizing, creating or managing pressure inside our trunk. Besides the breath, then the next step is to have a really functional trunk, okay? And a strong functional trunk, core, but all around. Then we move into the limbs. So breath, trunk, shoulder, hips, and then we keep building from there. Let's do a couple more. Remember, expansion in the inhales, contraction in the exhales. All right, that is our practice for today. Remember, Breath, diaphragmatic breathing, the foundation of the foundation, often overlooked, often challenging to restore. It takes practice, but I have found that this, starting on the floor is very safe. You can take 5 minutes, practice. It's not only gonna help your breathing, but it's gonna also help move the body in different positions and start reconnecting or bringing yourself in a more relaxed state that is gonna be better for everything that we do. Let me know below if you have any questions, in which of these positions you have a little more challenging, and get to this one often, okay? Maybe learn it, practice a few times, and try to incorporate it into your routine. Thank you very much, and I see you on the next video.